My clients were afraid to speak their truth to me. They sat in worry, tormented by the internal conflict within them. All I saw was me, a pure, authentic reflection of me. For this internal conflict in front of me was familiar. A protective mechanism, a recourse for safety, a habit that becomes you after years of restriction. Because sometimes it's better to not be seen, and when you are not seen for a long time, it's a process to find your voice again. For even withholding information is a form of lying, because lying is on a spectrum. And even more so is our choice around it, from intentional to unintentional, from unconscious to conscious. Our readiness to step into a new form of authenticity will sway from one extreme to the other, back and forth, wanting to be honest but fearing the outcome. I am learning how to be patient with those who withhold information from me because I used to be there. I've been on both sides. I used to withhold information and I used to manipulate information. Manipulation is a form of lying, but also not, because manipulation is just a fancy word that has evolved and now means to move things around to getting our needs met in a skillful way. We do it every day, whether we realize it or not. We manipulate puzzle pieces to make things fit. We manipulate appointments and events, move things around depending on what we have scheduled. We send people gifts, messages, or texts with the expectation that they acknowledge it or provide a moment of their time in return. We use the imbalance of our own emotions to get someone to meet our needs. We may also intentionally move words around to avoid being caught, whether it's to avoid being caught by the police, by your parent, a teacher, a boss, or even avoiding being caught by a tag-along friend that no one really likes and tries to avoid. An intentional move by someone who desires to hold more power than someone else in order to get their needs met. And yes, manipulation is also on a spectrum. Some of us use it intentionally, but most of us do it unconsciously until we become aware of it. I've manipulated information before, both unconsciously and consciously. When I was involved in the affair, when I didn't want to see or speak to certain people, or didn't want to go to certain family or public events, or when I did and wasn't allowed to by my parents, I'd tell them I was going somewhere when I really wasn't. Or when I needed a mental break from work or school before there were mental health days offered. I even manipulated my words, using my unbalanced emotions when I tried to get my ex to meet my own emotional needs, saying things like, "If you loved me, you would remember. If you cared, you would try. If you are a part of this with me, you would come with me to this family event or help my family out in this way. If you believe in God or this marriage or this commitment, you would ... I was also on the receiving end of this experience, having people who once held more power over me or tried to hold more power than me tell me I needed to do or be a certain way because that's what we did in that family or group setting, work setting, cultural setting, religious setting, or saying I needed to be or do a certain thing in order to advocate for one side or the other, etc., etc. And being on the receiving end of people's opinions as to what was needed for my health or well-being. Subtle, unconscious forms of manipulation, but manipulation nonetheless. Some people use it to threaten others, manipulating words to make it seem they have power because to a certain degree they feel powerless, or because they know they hold power and choose to use it over someone who does not recognize nor have access to their own power. Others use it as a form of revenge to reclaim a lost power in a previous experience. There are some who use it to sell you things or ideas, things that you don't have the space for or ideas that are not aligned, or they make it seem like their things and ideas are better than what they really are or better than others, a must-have, or make it seem like there is no other way nor better way to live. Yes, withholding information and manipulation of information is on a spectrum that has evolved and continues evolving. I can smell it now a mile away because it was a scent that I used to embody, not realizing that I was embodying it, while in other moments choosing to embody it. And I'm still learning how to navigate through it when I'm in its presence, only now I have my connection to my well-being that helps me filter through my unconscious actions to make sure I stay in alignment with me. Because when you finally see yourself, all parts of yourself, you can't run from your own reflection, for you will begin to see it all around you, tugging at you, triggering you, appearing itself to you in different shapes, in different forms, in different bodies, trying to get your attention. But don't worry, because all it is asking you to do is to allow others to sway from one extreme to the other as they navigate working with this form of inauthentic authenticity, because they are simply learning how to balance their own power or learning how to reclaim the personal power of their voice, whether they realize it or not. And it is your choice to experience this in their physical or energetic presence or not, to stay in the energy of that interaction or remove yourself from it. It is your choice. That is the power that you hold, your power of choice. But it is also asking you to allow the natural unfolding of your living, breathing truth to take form, to look within yourself and see how you have experienced your truth. If you have manipulated, disregarded, or have hidden your truth, or if you need to speak your truth, whether out loud to yourself or to someone else. It is asking you to release your truth into the wild, for the wind will know what to do with it. It will help you pave the way for that next step, your first authentic step towards your unknown, a place that is calling you to seek your own alignment. For lying is simply the retraction, the part of the process that is preparing you to expand when you are learning to balance and or find the power of your voice. There is no shame, no embarrassment, no guilt nor fault tied into lying from my transformed perspective. For I am learning to view this act of withholding, this act of manipulation, this act of inauthentic authenticity as simply a part of our process of becoming that exists on a spectrum and will change over time when it is time. Because when we lie or withhold information, we are still existing in our truth for the moment, swaying from side to side until we are ready to transform it into something else, something that brings in more relief. And I am learning how to create a safe space for those who need it, one without judgment, one without shame and rejection, one with understanding and patience for those who are still working through their own imbalance as they come towards me for a new beginning, a fresh start for their healing journey, because at the end of the day, we are all reflections of one another, mirroring parts of ourselves from one extreme to the other, for I am you and you are me to some degree. My name is Yubi, and this is my transformed truth. Thank you for watching You Becoming Healed, where I model and teach you how to own and transform your truth for healing. Until next time.